Welcome to this week's EFL Monday review show where we talk all things Championship, League One and League Two. Tom and Jimmy with you this week to run through the past couple of days, and I imagine it is a very giddy Jimmy given the events of Sunday in the Steel City. Never in doubt, was it?
Never in doubt, baby. Yeah, got a ticket Friday. Can you
What?
believe it?
I thought
Yes.
you had some big plan to go and watch it in the various pubs of Sheffield and stuff.
Well, yeah, what happened was there was like 5 of us without a ticket, and then a couple more got a ticket, and then suddenly it was just me and my
Oh my
brother
God.
without a ticket, and we were like, oh, we should try and go. So
Yeah.
I messaged Pitts on Friday, and I was like, is it too late to get tickets? Because we can get tickets through work. He was like, yes, you're about 4 weeks too late. But then someone just called up out the blue with tickets, so we went. Spoon's breakfast 8:30, and then stopped off at Tiger at 10:30 at night. So I'm feeling fresh as a daisy today. Just a
Lovely.
14-hour drinking session yesterday.
Lovely. It's usually, I think the introduction of a Monday podcast wasn't greeted massively by you, given your love for a Sunday club session, particularly post Steel City Derby. And actually, to be fair, rather than do the usual pre-ramble and on, it's a great place to start.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the reaction is we could talk about the reaction and stuff like that, but the game itself, I think. I mean, we were chatting about it before. There wasn't really a better opportunity for Sheffield United to get a derby win. They have done exactly that. And from a Wednesday perspective, a lot of the arguments kind of on Twitter and stuff was we can excuse the situation we're in, the administration, the points deduction, etc. But it's the passion, usual argument. We all want passion. And it was a performance that was so flat, so many errors kind of creeping in. And it's felt very, very early on there was only one way that game was going to go.
Yeah, credit to you, Duff, man, because you called it perfectly. You were saying this, weren't you, Thursday, Friday?
I'm smug. Yeah.
He's as smug as a bug in a rug. Yeah. And I was thinking at the game, like, it was a relief when Tyrese Campbell put us ahead. I'm obviously a Sheffield United fan. And then even bigger relief when he scored the second. And the game really, really opened up after that. In terms of clear-cut chances, I know Ings had one in the first half, but that was from an error. And then I was just thinking, then Tom Cannon had a one-on-one. Patrick Bamford tried to cross turn it into the net. The game really opened up at 2-0. But I was saying to my mate after, it fell... and I was thinking about how I was going to talk about the game on the show today, last night, and it's a bit difficult to enjoy it that much because Wednesday in such a dire situation, but not just because of that, but because of their performance was so bad. I mean, you just rattled off a few cliches there, but you're absolutely spot on. Apart from Harry and Mass at left back, who looks a really tidy player, and Barry Bannon is obviously a bit of a pantomime villain with Blades fans, but I thought he played quite well yesterday. Apart from them two, like, it was a dreadful performance in terms of you getting your 7 out of 10s just running, tackling, trying. Wednesday were really, really bad, and yeah, genuinely not being facetious, but I do feel bad for the Wednesday fans. It was terrible watching them all leave on the 70th minute.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we'll talk Blades, and particularly because I want to talk about the reaction to a few things shortly. But it probably is that, isn't it? It's not like they're still in the Chancery boycotts, because I remember we did speak about this.
Is there a boycott?
Right. We did speak about this, didn't we? Say, what happens if what happens at the Steel City Derby? Do they boycott it? Do they commit to this or what? Because it's a very hard game to kind of turn away from. That wasn't the case. The atmosphere's been really good.
Yeah.
It's kind of finally had that little, even if it still is administration and there's still an element of an unknown, it's certainly kind of better than it was. So you think, at the very least, it's the atmosphere would be there. The players would then respond to that atmosphere. And for the first few minutes, you thought, okay, we might get that sort of game. But that's probably the most disappointing aspect, isn't it, from a Wednesday perspective, that there will be a takeover, there will have new owners, and they'll think, we can now kick on. But there will still be that thing in the back of the mind for this season, which is a complete write-off anyway. They're going down. There's too much to do. That much is clear. You'd at least want some kind of performance, go down fighting, and at least then you've got some kind of bite back to the bragging that will be happening across Sheffield offices on Monday morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And before the game, Thursday, Friday, you were saying Sheffield United are going to batter them. Absolutely correct in hindsight. But I was looking at it from the other point of view. Not necessarily Sheffield United fan pessimism, but more the prices. I thought Wednesday were the bet in a Steel City derby when they had nothing to lose. And that's the important thing to remember. Like, this was sort of expected. United should have beat them as they did, but in that sort of dynamic, the sort of siege mentality, I was really worried. Like, it would have been a massive embarrassment if United got beat yesterday. And coming in from that point of aspect, it's really disappointing. And we've watched Wednesday a lot. It seems like we talk about them a lot because they've got this wonderful thing where they're massively odds against every single game, and they pluck away performances out of thin air. Like, you think of Wrexham opening day against Leicester, where they almost won at a massive price. But I don't know. I don't know where that Wednesday team. I don't know where that Wednesday team was on Sunday. But in terms of United, I thing is with Chris Wilder, like, he's absolutely brilliant. He's pulling power. He gets players. The majority of players all love him. Like, I think that's an he don't get the credit he deserves for the type of manager he is, because if you are his player and you like him, he likes you, sorry, and he plays you, like, you genuinely, cliche as it may be, run through a brick wall for him. But Wilder, the thing that lets him down, I think, is his tactics and his in-game management. But I think he got everything spot on Sunday, because what he's been doing in recent weeks is playing all three of Tanganga, McGuinness and me. So like a hybrid back four, back five with Tanganga at right back when he was one of the best centre-backs in the league, signing for big money, and it's just not been working. I don't know if he had a bit of a spat with Sariki in training or something, but he's brought him back in from the dark. Sariki played right back, Tanganga, me, centre-back. Absolutely perfect. McCallum, Burrows were the other question mark. Burrows, the big money signing, but McCallum on a free from Norwich. He is being the best left-back at the club this season. Put him in spot on. But the main one for me, Gyro Vriedeveld. Vriedeveld in the middle of the park. I said when we signed him, I stuck my neck on the line and I was like, I think he's going to be one of the best players in the league. He should be so good. And I think he ran the Steel City Derby yesterday. You're talking the first 20 minutes where it was a bit, do you know what I mean? A bit jumpy.
A little bit,
He just stamps his authority on that game, especially for the opener. Won the ball high up, had the composure to pick out O'Hare. O'Hare had the composure to pick out Campbell, but I thought Gyro was absolutely brilliant. I just hope we keep him all season long.
I know what you're going to say here, because obviously you're from a Blades background, but from me, I knew what kind of my answer to this is. What do you make of Chris Wilder and his kind of reaction afterwards? Because so many people have gone, oh, well, it's not like you're top of the league, it's not like you've won the league, but I really liked it for a post-derby victory. He was always going to give it the where have they gone, what's happening. I really enjoyed it, and I think too much negativity has been made of that. He's a Blades fan. He's guided them to victory. Doesn't matter on the Owls' situation. I think they have every right to milk that, whatever, because both sets of fans, this is the fixture they look for on the calendar. If you win it, and it was the other way around, say they flip the situations and Wednesday went to Bramall Lane and beat Sheffield United in that situation, there'd be no complaints whatsoever, would there? I really like the Wilder reaction and I'm all for it.
Yeah, me too. I think it's 88 years, I think my mate said. First time in 88 years since we've won Sheffield clubs won 3 away games. In February, I think we'll be 14 years unbeaten against Sheffield Wednesday, which is nuts. To be honest, I'm a bit of a Scrooge, a bit of a Grinch. Yeah. I don't know what you want to say. Do you know when it comes to celebration? You know when it comes to fist bumps away from home after every game, I think, what is the point?
Yeah.
Like, if you've won 1-0 at Watford.
Yeah.
Just like, clap, get off the pitch.
Cheers for that. Yeah.
You don't word. Yeah. But I did enjoy it yesterday. I enjoyed the pictures. I enjoyed Tom Canning going nuts. Got his goal deflected. Who cares? And did you see Wilder grabbing Bamford?
Yeah, the one thing that kept getting to me throughout the entire coverage was how they were making out like it's like two massive villains against each other and they've teamed up. And it's like, we were saying this, it's the most obvious signing of all time, that ever since the Bamford songs and him singing post-celebration about Wilder when Leeds got promoted, that as soon as it made clear that he was going to go and there was championship clubs after him, if Wilder stayed at Sheffield United in the summer, he would have 100% signed him then. Because what people forget as well, it's not just Bamford from his side doing that. Remember when Sheffield United got promoted back in, 2019? There was they'd had a few drinks at Bramall Lane, and he did the interview, didn't he, Wilder? And he was going, "They're Muppets from Leeds, like Bamford, and particularly called out Bamford as well." So it was always going to happen that those two would be reunited, and they were giving it loads at the end. It's like Wilder just needed that sort of, justification. The gratification for signing him was based on those chants at the end. So it was like the most obvious thing ever, and I was not buying into this. Or who would have saw this coming? Me, everyone. Surely everyone saw this coming. It was so obvious he was going to get it. One of the things that people were saying about the Wilder celebration, it's not like they've gone top of the league. It's not like they're flying. The team who are top of the league and are flying, and again, a team that we feel like we talk about a lot, but how can you not when they're not just ahead, but they are cliched league of their own at the moment. Coventry City, 2-0 down to West Brom. And I don't know what your thoughts were at that point, that even at 2-0 down, it's like it doesn't cross my mind that Coventry are going to lose, that this is a team who are so good at this stage already, and they play Middlesbrough tomorrow night, massive game, but they're 7 points clear of them, 10 points clear of third. They've just established themselves as the clear leaders and the clear likely team to get promoted and win the title at this point.
Yeah. 2-0 down. I would have been saying...
Almost sounded like nothing as well, the 2-0. It was like, what's going... Like, where the commentator sounds surprised and then you're surprised watching it when the second goal goes in. So nobody... Obviously you wouldn't, but the way it was going, it just took everyone by surprise.
Yeah, I say my missus, but I wanted one as well. We had a breakfast Taco Bell on Saturday, and we was on the way to Taco. Well, it was the first thing we ate. It's way too early for a Taco Bell?
I didn't know Taco Bell did breakfast. So is that just normal Taco Bell?
But it's just normal Taco Bell,
really?
But you eat it as a breakfast meal. Super healthy.
Wow.
But we was on the way there anyway. I'm just saying I had a burrito for breakfast on Saturday. It's irrelevant, but so I was in the car.
You went in the morning? This is not like you bought it the day before and just reheated it. Like they open at like 9 a.m. or something.
Yeah, no, to be fair, in my missus's current condition now, I'll get a Taco Bell whatever time she wants. But we was out and about, and my only point was we was out and about in the car. And
getting Taco Bell at 10 a.m.
Getting Taco Bell, but we must have been doing something else because it was Chappers on 5 Live, and he cut to the commentator at the Coventry Building Society Arena, and he was like, "Have we got a surprise on our hands?" And it was 2-0. Huggable brace. But I've got to say, I didn't think it was inevitable that Coventry would come back and win this. I look at this Coventry side thinking they cannot carry on like they are doing, based on nothing whatsoever, because the underlying numbers have them trending as a better team than your beloved Leeds, who got 100 points last season, according to the underlying data, which we adore. That they're better than Leeds. So it certainly doesn't look like it shouldn't derail. But this game spun thanks to a ridiculous decision from Malumbi. Is it Jason Malumbi in the middle of the park? A needless tug on someone's shirt, gets his second yellow, and then that's when momentum swung in the favour of the Sky Blues, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean the stats for this the Coventry start, and it's because Sheffield United in my mind, because you have to go back to Sheffield United of 2005 for the last time a team held a 10-point lead over third at this stage of a championship season. Mentioned there they're on rate to break the championship points record by 1. They're on for 107 points. I think they're on for the most away goals as well. I know they played at home last time out, but it's just extraordinary, and it's the levels of kind of performance that this side is at that tomorrow and Wednesday morning or Tuesday night, this could all be irrelevant and Middlesbrough have beaten them. But this is a game where they're going to second in the league, and you just have so much confidence in an away win. And if they do that, even at this point, surely that's got to be that.
I can't believe that. I just had to double check it. They're 10 points clear of third, Stoke City. Yeah. What the heck?
You have to go back 20 years for the last time a team in the Championship did that.
That is nuts. I'm just scrambling around now to see what it was at 16 games in, how many points the leaders were how many points the leaders were clear. So at this stage last
It
season,
wasn't much, was it? Because I think Sunderland were ahead at this point last season. I think they were only a point ahead of Leeds or something, and 2 ahead of third or something.
yeah, right, I've got it up. 16 games. Sheffield United top of the league on 34. So Sunderland 3 points better off than them. Then it was Leeds 32, Sunderland 32, Burnley 30, Middlesbrough 27 in fifth. That is nuts.
Staggering.
Coventry are unbelievable. We
Oh,
always knew it about Frank, didn't we? We always knew he'd come good.
hey, to be fair to him, I think the criticisms before were valid, but he certainly has adapted as a manager. And I think as time has gone on, and he's kind of now evolved into this edition of Frank Lampard, which has a bit more clear structure to it. There seems
Yep.
to be a willingness to chop and change where required. They obviously have tried a bit of a back three at times this season. Do know when, all games can be thrilling, but they do sort of know at times as well, well, we need to be a bit sensible here, as we
Yeah.
saw kind of at Stoke. So maybe we'll get that approach against Middlesbrough. Was there anywhere else you wanted to touch in the Championship before we moved on?
Just on Frank Lampard's Coventry,
Yes.
brilliant. But I've watched them live in the flesh, and I don't think they're invincible. You play a flat front two against them, spin it down the channels. Them two centre backs do not like running towards their own goal. So if any managers are listening, just play 4-4.
Hey,
Play 4-4-2 and just spin them, because I think that's the way you beat them. I saw Sheffield United do it for like 15 minutes to great effect, and then we just stopped doing it and then got battered. But I think that's the way to go at them. Other games in the Championship, worth mentioning another bit of a derby. Is it the Lancashire derby? Preston v Blackburn.
yes, surprise result, really, I think.
Yeah, very shocking. In a beautiful coincidence, I was at the in-laws. We're not married, but me bird's mum's make your own pizza night. So very good, by the way. Very
what
good.
a weekend of cuisine you have had, by the way.
I'm a very cultured boy. But I missed the first 40 minutes. Got back for the last 5 minutes of the first half. Didn't miss out, apparently. That's when it kicked off. 2 goals just at the end of the first half. But like the Sheffield derby was lacking, I thought this had all the cliches you want from a Championship game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Quality. Well, it didn't have that much quality, but what it lacked in quality, it had tempo, endeavour, passion.
Passion is always number one. Always number one.
And I thought Valerian Ismail summed it up really poetically nice post match. He said it was a performance which took all faces, staying strong, suffering, playing football, and utilising set pieces. And it genuinely felt like a breathless second half. Jefferson fell asleep for that set piece goal from Good Johnson. Good Johnson, by the way, son of the Good Johnson.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Did you know?
Well, I mean, there's not. Well, maybe there is actually. I don't know. But in terms of football dynasty, yeah.
How many Nepo babies are there in the EFL? Because Wellens at Leyton Orient.
God, there's loads, isn't there?
Yeah, there's Grant McCann's son. He's on loan at Ofton of all clubs.
Oh
Alfreton.
my God.
Yeah, from Barnsley. Apparently, he's a really tidy player as well. But I made a note on my notes, and I said, research Nepo babies in the EFL, and I haven't done it. But
that's for next week. We'll pick that up.
Yeah,
we'll pick it up on Thursday.
There's loads of them knocking about. But back to this game, the game at hand, Derby. Blackburn look like the home team, and their home and away form is shockingly chalk and cheese. 5 wins from 7 on the road, and it's got to be because Valerian Ismail loves to play high-intensity football without the football. And to be honest, the only way Preston were very disappointing. Very disappointing. It feels like we haven't given them any flowers after the start they made to the season. And I thought, I watched the game. I'm looking forward to dissecting it and talking about how good they are. But just watching that game, I just feel like it's very obvious why they are one of the longest serving championship clubs in the championship, because they're such a championship team, aren't they? Like, no outstanding qualities, no outstanding players, good 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10s all over the pitch, but no tactical edge, no unbelievable quality. I know they were missing some key players, but yeah, I thought Blackburn was very impressive here, and I thoroughly enjoyed that game on Friday, what I watched of it.
On to Saturday and into League One, and I try and avoid talking Barnsley too much so it doesn't become like a Barnsley podcast, but I think it's more than justified this week because Luton Town have had the bizarrest kind of couple of weeks in like a real swing. You can pick out a scale, right, and have the scale of big win, 0-0 draw, big loss. Quite remarkable. A 5-0 win for Barnsley against a Luton team who really are still trying to establish themselves a little bit under Jack Wilshere, but just a remarkable result. And it continues this run for Barnsley of just all of their games seeing plenty of goals. It is, I mean, it must be absolutely thrilling following Barnsley week in, week out.
Oh yeah, it's a thriller minute at Oakwell, baby. Yeah, I was at this game, Barnsley Hospital Radio. So if you had the misfortune of being in Barnsley Hospital over the weekend, I'm sorry to compile your misery. You had to listen to me for 2
It's
hours.
one of those where, usually people go, I'm on this, please tune in, and this sort of the one we go, I'd prefer it if you weren't listening, but if you have, here's some coverage of the game.
Exactly. But, Duffman, this was absolutely shocking. If you told me there'd be 5 goals in this game, even if you told me there's 5 goals in the game now, and I know the score, I say, you're lying, it was not 5-0 Barnsley. I don't believe you. 3-2 to one of them. Yes. 5-0, sorry. No way. Couple of things, I think, key points from this game. I think Conor Hourihane has sort of finally found the perfect balance in terms of his lineup. So he's one of these new era coaches, very modern, very trendy, wants to do the inverted fullback things, wants to press high, wants to play football. And he's sort of been like stumbling and bumbling through his career, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. He's just learning on the job, and he's got a real blend of young, experienced, quality players and old heads. Roberts, McGoldrick. I think they've got a combined age of like 75. But yeah, he's got a real talented squad. And it's so talented that it's tricky to work out where to play everyone for the best football. For example, we've seen McGoldrick play up front, we've seen him play him on the left, we've seen him play him on the 10, seen him play him on the right. Same thing with Cleary, same thing with Jorgensen, same thing with Kilo Dunn, same thing with Phillips, same thing with Patrick Kelly. But Saturday, instead of doing his inverted fullbacks thing, he went for a no-nonsense flat-back four. Watson, Roberts, Shepherd, Earl. Defend first. He'd only kept 1 clean sheet in 30 games going into that game. He's doubled that tally. And it worked well. And do you know what else he didn't do? He didn't play it out from the back. They launched it onto Kilo Dunn and got on the second balls, because Kilo Dunn was never going to beat Mads Andersen in the air. Got on the second ball. But the main thing was, he's been doing, I guess it was a 4-2-3-1. But to me, it was more of a 4-3-3. Bland, Connell, Kelly in the middle of the park. Kelly's a really naughty little player, by the way. Wonderful ball-carrying abilities. But the main thing was he played a front three of Ray's Cleary, Jorgensen, Kilo Dunn down the middle. And they were just brilliant. They were so good. Ray's Cleary, 2 assists and a goal. Yellow card as well. He was pure box office. He looks like a wonderful signing. I can't believe he was knocking around in the National League. Hartlepool last season. West Brom's really have screwed the pooch on letting him go, because he's took no time in adapting to the level. But yeah, Barnsley perhaps a team to watch. I think they've got Stockport this weekend. I don't know if they're playing in midweek. I don't think they are. They might have a cup game or something. I think it's Stockport away. Saturday's their next game. Stockport now lost back-to-back games 3-0. They've got no Ollie Norwood. I'm sure we're going to touch on them in a minute. But yeah, I keep your eye out for Barnsley now, because suddenly they've got games in hand on the rest of the division. And if Hourihane, which seems to be the case, found his best 11, they look suddenly very upwardly mobile. And I think if they do win the games on hand, they can go level on points with Stockport, who was at the start of the weekend second on goal difference. So perhaps I always get carried away talking about Barnsley, but yeah, it does look like they could go upwards.
Let's pick up on that Stockport point then, because this Peterborough kind of revival under Luke Williams, who I think the greatest respect is probably, I didn't expect him to end kind of at Peterborough, which really is testament to kind of the project that they have going there, and the fact that they kind of go in and out of spells, don't they? Peterborough being promotion contenders and then sort of rebuilding, and is a very sustainable model that they've built at the club. They have bought in Luke Williams, and they beat Stockport 3-0 on Thursday night, which it feels so long ago when it was a live game then, but it was part of this weekend's action. It kicked off this weekend's action. And we can touch upon Stockport shortly, but on Peterborough, since Williams has come in, it's 4 wins from 4 in all competitions. They beat Wimbledon, who have had a good start to the season, 5-0 in his first league game at the helm. They knocked Cardiff out of the FA Cup before that. And then Stockport, 3-0. I mean, these were no fluke results either, really, when we look at it, maybe to the extent of some of the victories, particularly that Wimbledon game. But watching them against Stockport, I think the feeling with Williams was always that attacking wise, they'll get going. It's probably defensive that may struggle, and yet they've kept another clean sheet. But just watching the way they built up attack against a very good Stockport team, who, yes, they are missing Norwood. But if you said kind of place these two teams in the table and where they are, you definitely have Peterborough as the promotion contenders. Williams' impact has been, I think, far more instant than perhaps anyone expected.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. And there was a clip going around on social media. I think it was from their win against Wimbledon, where they're knocking it around the back four, and everyone's saying, "Wow, wow, wow!" He's got them playing really quickly. They look brilliant. So I thought I'm gonna have to watch this game and see how good they are, and they are unbelievable. Oh my God, Lisby! That's another nepo, isn't it?
There
They're
you
everywhere. Yeah. Kyrell Lisby, I think he's got a brother as well knocking around in the Football League or the National League. And who's his dad? Who's his dad? Because he used to play Kevin, isn't it?
Kevin Lisby, yeah.
Wow, they're everywhere. Yeah, but Peterborough do look like the real deal, don't they, Duffman? They played some wonderful stuff, and not like it's easy to just say they knocked it around. They were better than Stockport, but the thing that struck me, and it's rare, no disrespect to League One, but teams just don't play this way. But the press of Peterborough was so well orchestrated and lethal. Like, they didn't do it constantly, but when they did, Stockport didn't know how to deal with it. And it does feel like a tap-in. But Stockport have lost the last 2 games 3-0, and it's no coincidence that Ollie Norwood, both of those results have come without Ollie Norwood. And I say it's a tap-in because he's so clearly the best player in the league. Like, it's no surprise you take him out of any squad and that team suddenly becomes very, very ordinary, because I watched him for years at Sheffield United, and if you try and press him, he'll just play it one touch around you. If you drop off him, he'll just spray the passes left and right. Like, he controls every game that he's on the pitch for. So yeah, it's no surprise to see Stockport looking so much worse off without him in the side. And off the back of that, he's not. A best case scenario is back around Christmas time. So I think Stockport, I just think they're going to drop off massively until he comes back. Like, I'd be very, very shocked if they're still in the top 2 come Christmas, if he's out for that long. I don't know what you think, but
I was going to say, yeah, what impact do you think this is going to have on Stockport? Because they've now lost their last 2, haven't they, in the league? You mentioned it there. They've got Barnsley coming up, who, as we've seen, can kind of deliver absolutely anything. Then they've got Cambridge in the FA Cup. They've then got to go to Doncaster. Stevenage, who, okay, have dropped off Peterborough's opponents on Tuesday night. Mansfield away. Lincoln all to come around that Christmas period as well. I mean, any time you lose a star player is never ideal, right? But particularly with that run of fixtures coming up, as you say there, it's massively damaging on their promotion chances, because even worse probably in a League One season, as we've seen with Bradford, Stevenage, who have suffered a little bit in recent weeks, but they were the surprise packages, which just further underlined how open this division is. It was really an opportunity for them to kind of seize that, get to Christmas, have a decent lead at the top you'd expect, but they're going to now probably miss that opportunity, and how much effect that will have in the long run remains to be seen. But it's an awful time to lose Norwood.
Yeah, really, really bad. And we spoke about it a lot now. Jesus, they're only 1 point off the top of the table still. They've got a game in hand in one of the sides above them, but how many points is there between top and bottom of the league? 15 in League One. It's tight as can
Remarkable.
be. On the flip side of Stockport perhaps falling off, dear friend of Sporting Life, Matthew O'Regan, I was doing a podcast with him Thursday, and he tipped Peterborough top 6, 25-1. That's been smashed in after the weekend results, but they're down in 21st. So technically, if the season ended, they would go down at this moment in time, but they're only 11 points off the top 6. And the way Luke Williams has got them playing, like, it's such a tight division. I'm gonna have to make the point on Thursdays, this week's Hacker Show. Like, it feels like it's rife for outright betting opportunity in that division. But from a non-betting point of view, as you said, it was tough to decipher exactly who was the title contenders and who was in danger of going down, because I think as we approach the festive period, I wouldn't be surprised if these two go into Christmas Day like a lot closer in terms of points, because it feels like they're trending in very different directions at this moment in time.
On the topic of, you mentioned there, if the season ended now, they would be relegated. I think it takes us nicely to League Two, actually. And a team that I wanted to bring up, if the season ended now, they would stay up, but they'd stay up just by 2 points. They would survive. And Bristol Rovers were a team that myself, a lot of people kind of had their eye on as promotion contenders. Darrell Clarke there had built a relatively decent squad. It appeared like on paper, yet after 17 games, 17 points, an awful run of form. The losing run continues with Cheltenham, who have now joined them on the same 17 points tally. They are just 2 points above the drop zone. Surprisingly bad, very, very bad, and very surprising how bad they've been. The concern for me is that it feels like if Darrell Clarke can't get that team going, and you felt at this level with that club, they'd more than be in the mix for the top 7. It feels very much like a case of, if he can't sort them out, who does? Do they just have to get to January, which is a notoriously bad window to rebuild in, and just hope that there is enough there to keep them up? But form at the moment, absolutely shocking. I think they've scored 1 goal across their last 4 as well. I mean, heavily beaten by teams like Crawley in that run as well, Accrington in away games, and then Cheltenham as well. So they're not only losing, but it's the teams around them at the bottom end of the table that they're losing to as well. A surprise candidate for relegation. And at this point, considering how that division is playing out, and yes, there may only be one spot, probably realistically not up for grabs, but available that one team will drop into, they are well in contention for the drop.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've referenced some of the results there. Cheltenham, Accrington, Crawley, like Tranmere 4-1. Jesus, like these are teams down and around them. If you can't beat them, it is worrying times. There's that great spell in the autumnal months, September, where they went unbeaten.
August, September, they were basically winning every week. It was very,
And now
very
they're
weird how
losing every week.
it's gone like bad start, very, very good period, absolutely terrible period. There's been like no chopping and changing between it. It's been like 3 clear, defined sections of their season, 2 of which have been absolutely appalling.
yeah, and suddenly you're looking at the table. Newport, we'll probably touch on them in a minute, but they're like 4 adrift of Harrogate. But Bristol Rovers are only 2 points above Harrogate, and the way they're playing, you definitely do feel like they could shockingly slip out of the division at this moment in time unless something changes. And I asked Joe, because we did speak about, we touched on them last week. I asked Joe, I said, "Do you have any idea what's going wrong?" And he didn't. I don't. I need to watch one of their games. But I'm just looking on the horizon. They've got Notts County and Cambridge at home, Barnet away, Swindon at home. Like these are really, really tricky fixtures. Like, sorry, Cambridge is in the Paint Trophy, but Notts County, Barnet, and Swindon in the league, like that is a brutal schedule going into mid-December. Like, it's tough to just. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but it's tough to see where the next win comes from when you've got those 3 teams in town coming up. It's shocking, really. But do you know why they're losing? I don't know why they're losing.
I just can't get my head around it. I don't know if it's like, I mean, we could talk and spend all day talking about how teams play and stuff like that, but I don't know if it's a psychological thing of once you start losing and you start tumbling. As we saw at the start of the season, they lost a few, then got a win, and suddenly momentum's high. You then lose and then can't get out of that rut. And as well, I think the game that kind of started this off, Walsall, where I think they were leading at half time and conceded 2 late-ish goals to lose that game. I mean, it's the nature of some of these defeats as well, like we're saying, the 4 goals. It just seems to be second halves. I don't get what happens at half. Like, the first half of a lot of their games is fairly tight. There's a lot of 0-0ers. 1-0, okay, it might not be going their way. Just been a consistent basically throughout the entire season. For 45 minutes, they seem to be a somewhat competitive side. But
Yeah.
then you get to the second 45 minutes and something clicks and it all goes wrong. There seems to be something that these players just can't seemingly play for 90 minutes. It's a mystery as to why that is the case. Newport, I suppose you said they're
Mhm.
a side that, I mean, we kind of put it out on our TikTok last week, what are the thoughts on it? I thought they've basically got nothing to lose at this stage, and it feels very much like the appointment of Leicester title winner left back Christian Fuchs has not exactly got them hitting the ground running with that 3-0 loss at Oldham, a game in which I don't think they created a big chance. I don't think they created a great deal. They are 11 points, I want to say about 5 points adrift of safety at this point without having the table in front of me. It's sort of, I guess, when as you'd expect. There's been a lot of these kind of appointments, haven't we, where I think it was at Bristol Rovers had Inigo Calderon, all kind of ex-players who have not long retired and have been sort of surprise appointments by EFL clubs in trouble. They very, very rarely go right, it seems. And it's only one game, and there is a long way to go. But in terms of giving us something to cling on to from a Newport perspective, you're going to find it very, very difficult in that Oldham game to do that.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, it did. We said they got nothing to lose when we did the TikTok, but a commenter on the TikTok video said, lads, we've got a lot to lose,
Yeah, I
actually.
suppose, your entire
Yeah.
footballing status, maybe.
Yes. That's pretty big. That is a pretty big thing to gamble on,
And then it's the
especially in this climate
bottom
with
of the
the
entire
standard.
pyramid, aren't they, anyway? So, I guess, yeah, how
The,
attractive of a job is that going to be to a lot of people?
Yeah, the worrying thing is, as you say, to lose 3-0 in the first game. I know new manager bounces are a bit of a myth, but to not have any reaction, like you would have thought, like it would have given them a jolt or something. They might have been able to pick up a result or score a goal or create a decent chance, but they did none of that. And we spoke about it on the TikTok again. Newport, nothing really to lose. Maybe not. I don't know where I stand on that, but I said that Christian Fuchs has a lot to lose, like his reputation and that. He's going into a club. Last season, Newport was the worst side in the fourth tier based on underlying data. How they stayed up was a bit of a minor miracle, and now they've started the season terribly. Like the performances have started to trend towards where the underlying data suggested there should be. And now Fuchs comes in as a rookie manager. He was the assistant at Dean Boy Smith in Charlotte FC, wasn't he? But
Yes.
like this feels like a bit of a dangerous move for his career. And based on the performance, I'm not sure exactly what he's trying to do. But he come out after the game and said we need to get back to basics, and I think that's important. Very very obvious, but yeah, try and stop conceding goals, try and stop giving up chances, try and get your the shape and your structure right, and build from there, but build from defence. But as you said, they're already a long way a long way behind. Sorry, of safety. So it seems like a precarious position and a dangerous job for Fuchs to take. But again, it's another team. I need to watch them play 90 minutes. I just cannot believe Fuchs has rocked up at Newport. I still can't believe it.
It feels like when you were saying that, it reminded me, I was quickly looking up that Man United tweet that they put out in 2013 saying David Moyes says Man United must improve in a number of areas, including passing, creating chances, and defending. So basically, Newport just need to be better at playing football. Before we finish, you did say before actually you wanted to mention something on Walsall, so I'll let you do that before we get off.
Yeah, it was just after me and Joe recorded last week's EFL that I got in the car. Talksport came on, and it was Colchester's manager on the radio, Dan Crowley, isn't it? One
Danny
of the
Cowley, yeah. Danny
Danny
Cowley,
Crowley.
Notts County lad.
Yeah, and basically he was on Talksport because they had a nightmare with the team coach. I think the team coach got a flat tire, so they had to get two littler buses. What do you call minibus? Two of
Minibuses.
them, and then one of them got a flat tire.
Oh my God.
And where they train somewhere. They train somewhere. Is it a women's team? It was biblical rain when they got there, so they had to share the indoor dome. Was it at Wolves or somewhere?
Okay.
Anyway, he was on the radio to talk about the nightmare commute they had to the game against Walsall last week, and they went on to win. And he also said on the radio, national radio, he unpacked how to beat Walsall, and I just thought it was worth mentioning because he said Walsall are a bit of an enigma in the sense that they're top of the table, but they're bottom for possession. They're averaging like 35% possession, which is nuts. They hate having the ball. They're very direct. They're very good at putting crosses into the box. But Crowley said on the radio, he said, if you make them have the ball, they don't know what to do with it. And he says, if you also play against them with a back five, they really struggle. And the proof was in the pudding last week because Colchester beat them. I think Harrogate tried something similar this weekend. They went for a back five. They don't usually play a back five, or they very rarely play a back five. It didn't work for them because Walsall got their noses in front on the stroke of half time. But I just thought it was worth flagging because I can't believe it's so rare that you get managers go like to the media and broadcast the tactical edge. I thought it was very interesting. The only other time I can remember someone doing it was O'Neill on Monday Night Football. But he did it because he wanted to basically stick two fingers up at Bournemouth, wasn't it? Because he beat them as Wolves manager and he wanted to rub their noses in it. But his career's gone a bit downhill since then, so I'm surprised Dan Crowley did it. But yeah,
Crowley.
Oh, Crowley. But Walsall host Bromley next week, so keep your eye on that one because Bromley are another team that hate the ball. So I'd be leaning towards a Bromley win at Walsall next week. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting.
If Bromley turn up and Danny Cowley's the manager, then we know that they've listened in too much to Talk Sport to try and get a result. Let's finish off there then. In the next few weeks, we're actually recording our specials, aren't we? That we've kind of decided that we talk about so many random topics around the office. We thought, why not make that the Monday podcast? So that's coming out through December. Usual schedule as it will be, one a week, coming out every Monday morning. A whole range of topics to discuss and also get involved with there as well. So keep your eyes, ears out wherever you usually get this podcast because those will be appearing there. But before that, we have this week's ACCA, and that is back on Thursday.